This is the third video in the whole Michael Brown, Darren Wilson saga. If you are new to this, I have been covering the eyewitness testimony, going through what they're telling you, and we're finding out that people can't always be trusted. Well, not unless they're young. If they're young and kind of sweet and innocent, you can always trust them, as Don Lemon, or Don Lemon, or however in the hell you want to pronounce it, is going to demonstrate to you. He's got a couple of young females here who are going to tell their side of the story, and they're going to totally snare him and his co-host into their little web of deceit. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dread Show.
And away we go.
Yeah, first I'm actually going to go to two eyewitnesses to the shooting, Don, because we have those with us. Piaget Crenshaw and Tiffany Mitchell. They were there, and along with Tiffany's attorney, Peter Cohen, they say that they witnessed what happened that night.
By the way, his name got chopped off. Good, because he's unprofessional. The one on the left is actually witness 118 in the grand jury report. The one in the middle is witness 127 in the grand jury report. And that grand jury report is going to uncover the fact that neither of these two girls is being totally truthful here.
Tiffany, I want to start with you. You say that you did not see what led up to the shooting. When you showed up on the scene, the altercation was already in progress. But we have video that I believe you shot of what happened. Let's take a look at this, and you can tell us what you saw. What is this?
Okay, what I saw was when the...
Now you see the man walking up to the body? This explains why they're even bothering to show this. This is video captured long after the incident, so it's of really little use to us here, except it does further CNN's little propaganda tool. You'll see here in a moment what I'm talking about.
Cop and Michael were like wrestling through the window. It looked as if Michael was pushing off and the cop was trying to pull him in. Then the cop...
Michael Brown weighs 290 pounds. He's 6'5", but the officer was trying to pull him in through the window of his SUV. Ooh, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, we believe that.
shot a fire through the window.
Keep in mind, she's going to admit that she was on the opposite side of the car. She couldn't have really seen that much.
Michael breaks away and he starts running away from the officer. The officer gets out of his vehicle and pursues Michael as he's shooting his weapon.
Notice they're playing this over and over again on the left. You'll see why in a moment.
Michael jerks his body as if he was hit. Then he turns around, faces the officer, and puts his hands up. And the officer continues to shoot him until he goes down to the ground.
So Tiffany, let me ask you this, though, because the video that we have up, we talked.
In other words, hey, come on, enough of that crap. We want to talk about this video.
You and I talked earlier about after and the dad. We believe this is the father in the video. So there's a police officer walking up here that you're looking at.
Yeah.
We believe it's the father. Oh, the human interest angle. If we can have the father walking up to his dead son and have the police push him away, oh my God, what great propaganda that is. It turns out to be his uncle.
Okay,
and this is the father, and we believe he's going to the body. That's what's blurred.
Okay, that's his uncle that's walking up to the...
Okay.
Yes.
And Don Lemon's like, damn it. So close.
Explain to us what happened.
Okay, whenever his uncle walked up to him to try to see if that was him, because everybody in the neighborhood was telling him that his nephew was shot.
Where's the father?
He tried to walk up and see if that was him, and then the officers immediately run to him and tell him to get back behind the tape.
Oh, man, those mean officers. They won't let him be with his nephew.
And he asked, I'm sorry.
That's what we're looking at right now. And so they were trying to go to the body, and the family members were being blocked.
Yes, they were trying to be with their dead relative, but those mean police officers pushed them back, wouldn't let them do it. Gee, maybe it's because it's a crime scene. You can't allow relatives to go rushing over to bodies like that. He's dead. He's already dead. There's no point in them being there. He's been shot. There is evidence that has to be collected. You can't allow people to contaminate a crime scene like that. That's why the police rushed over and told him to get back behind the tape. Yeah, it may sound a little cruel, but you have to do that because that's the only way to get the truth out, is to preserve the evidence. But that spoils the narrative. CNN wants this to be a grieving uncle tries to be with his dead nephew, but the evil police wouldn't let him. That's why they were showing this over and over and over again. And that's why they wanted to cut to this and talk about it so badly. This is CNN. It's propaganda.
Yes.
PJ, did you get a better, did you get a better, were you able to see better of what happened, the confrontation in the car and the shooting?
Well, when I first looked out of my window, it was because Tiffany was calling me to come down. You know, we were on our way to work. So I have, my video isn't from that time, but I actually saw with my own eyes the starting with the confrontation at the window. It just looked like it was a tussle, some struggle going on. I couldn't really tell really from my angle, but then I saw the police just get out and chase him forcefully down the street and shoot him down.
And PJ, when you saw...
Yeah, right. That is in opposition to all credible eyewitness testimonies who made it clear that Michael Brown ran, stopped, turned around, and ran towards Officer Darren Wilson. And only then did Officer Darren Wilson open fire. There is a number of credible witnesses that made that claim. I went through them one by one in one of my previous videos. And these are not biased people. Many of them had real dislike for the police, and yet they came out and told the truth. These two girls are lying.
This out your window, when you say you saw a tussle at the window, do you mean that Michael Brown was outside of the police car and the policeman was inside the police car and they were sort of arm wrestling through the window? Or what?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean, like, he was out, Michael was outside of the police car and the police was inside, and just seemed like he was just trying to, it was just some kind of Michael trying to get away really quickly and the police wouldn't let him.
Except that this was all being done on the opposite side of the SUV. How could you have even seen it?
So then
did you
that's
ever
when I heard the
see,
shots fired.
Did you ever see a moment where Michael was in the police car?
No, ma'am.
Now watch the expression on the co-host's face here. Look at this.
Because that's what police are saying.
Oh, those damn police. They're lying pigs. And these two young, innocent females are telling us the truth. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Now listen to Don Lemon.
Saying that they were in the police car and there was a tussle inside the police car. And that.
Oh, yeah. So the police are lying to us. They told us that Michael Brown was inside the police car, but thank God we have these two girls here to tell us the truth. No, neither the police nor Darren Wilson ever claimed that Michael Brown was inside the SUV. Darren Wilson claimed that Michael Brown was lunging in through the window. He was not being dragged through the window. Nobody buys that story because it's totally implausible. However, Michael Brown was attacking Officer Darren Wilson by leaning in through the window and hitting him. These two girls are lying. Lie, 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 lie.
At no time, and I know that you weren't there from the very beginning, PJ or Tiffany, but at no time did you see Michael Brown in the car?
No, not at all. At all.
And in your estimation, he was trying to get away.
So again, Don Lemon thinks he's got the police here. Oh my God, they were lying to us. He asked them again.
Go ahead.
Don,
go
one
ahead.
other important thing that perhaps these young ladies aren't saying is
What they're not saying is that you should dress a little better for a CNN interview. Where the hell did you get that suit? Oh my God. And it's wrinkled. Didn't you bother to kind of straighten out a little bit before you went on air? And hey, how about shaving? It's CNN. It is a major news network. You're going on in front of millions of people. Why not look professional? I'm telling you, the legal profession has gone downhill.
there was a you look at the video, there was a good deal of distance between where the officer fired at Michael Brown and, where he was hit and where the officer was. I mean, he was, I think, well away from the officer, is my understanding from looking at the video and talking to those
He was
young
really
ladies.
far away from the vehicle whenever the fatal shot was fired.
Oh, and by the way, the one on the left, witness 118, told other media sources that Darren Wilson was only 3 feet away when he shot him in the back. She changed her story. Oh, and another thing they're not telling you, witness 118 and Dorian Johnson are good friends. They know each other. It came out in the grand jury report that she and Dorian Johnson were good friends. They talked to each other all the time. You're not hearing that in this interview, are you?
TJ, did you ever see a moment where it looked as if Michael Brown was reaching for the officer's gun?
No, I couldn't see that closely from my balcony. I could actually see the opposite side of the car, but he was outside of the car, and it just looked like a struggle was going on. And the police actually shot kind of carelessly. They shot my neighbor's building that was on the opposite side of the police car, and they then later came and removed that bullet.
She initially said that she saw the bullet hit the wall, changed her story, and told them that she had inferred that the bullet had hit the wall because she saw them trying to remove it.
So anybody could have been standing right there.
How do you guys feel about the response from the police department and from, I mean, this is your area, your town, St. Louis, Ferguson. I think, PJ, you live in North County, right, which is where
Yes.
Ferguson is, and you live in St. Louis County, correct, Tiffany?
I live in St. Louis City.
You live in the city
I feel
of
like
St.
it's very unfair.
No, what's unfair is the bullshit you're telling us.
If he was trying to get away from him, why did he continue to shoot at him?
Exactly.
I still don't get that part at all. Like, why was he killed trying to get away from the officer?
And even when he turned around and put his arms in the air, he was then overkilled, shot multiple times.
He never put his arms up in the air. We now know that for a fact. You are a fucking liar, you little shit.
How far away did he get from the police car?
Oh, he ran a good 20 feet down the street.
Yeah, it was a ways from. If you can look at the vehicle, if you can look at the photo, he was way behind the vehicle whenever he was fatally shot.
20 feet? About 6 yards? Okay. Doesn't sound very long to me, but whatever.
And he was facing the officer with his hands up whenever he went down.
Piaget, that first shot that you heard, did that come from the police car?
Yes, ma'am.
And could you tell who fired that first shot?
Well, when I looked out the window, I saw the original tussle going on. I quickly just turned around, grabbed my purse, tried to go to run to the other window. And at that time, it was over with. I heard the shots fired, and I saw the hole with the building in it, and Michael was running down the street at that time. So.
All right, guys. We really appreciate you.
Why? They came in and lied, misinformed us. Why do we appreciate them?
Coming on CNN, Tiffany, Piaget, and also Peter.
Look at her bobbing her head like, oh man, this is so serious. You got taken.
Boy, you guys are really composed considering what you witnessed. And again,
see what I mean? They bought the story completely.
And we're glad that you're here, and we hope that there's peace and there's calm in your town. And if you guys want to come back and talk to us, we'll have you anytime.
Yeah, no thanks. We've heard enough. So, on to the witness testimonies. Okay, so what we're going to do now is look at those witness accounts that support Dorian Johnson. That is, their take on things aligns closely, or at least reasonably closely, to Dorian Johnson's testimony. And we'll start off with Dorian Johnson himself, Witness 101. Witness 101 is a 22-year-old black male who was walking in the middle of Canfield Drive with Brown when they encountered Wilson. Witness 101 made multiple statements to the media immediately following the incident that spawned the popular narrative that Wilson shot Brown execution style as he held up his hands in surrender. Remember, it was Dorian Johnson who broadcast this message to everyone. Everyone picked up on it, and it became the hands up, don't shoot mantra. And you have many people in the media that still talk about this as if it was fact. These media interviews occurred prior to Witness 101 giving his two statements. First, FBI and SLCPD jointly interviewed Witness 101 on August 13, 2014, in the presence of Witness 101's mother, Witness 101's two attorneys, and an individual who explained that he was in charge of Witness 101's personal security. So he had to have security for a visit by the FBI and the SLCPD? Okay. And again, two attorneys. Dude must be rich. I'm telling you. Witness 101 subsequently testified before the county grand jury. According to Witness 101, he and Brown had been friends for about 2 to 3 months as of the day of the shooting. They were not lifelong friends. They had barely known each other, really. Witness 101 viewed himself as a role model or a mentor to Brown, and a great job he did of that. Witness 101 came into contact with Brown on August 9th, 2014, at about 7 in the morning. 7 in the morning? At some point between then and just prior to noon, he and Brown decided to go to Ferguson Market to get cigarillos, to steal cigarillos. Witness 101 could not recall in detail what the pair was doing in those 5 intervening hours, other than to explain that they were playing video games and talking. However, Witness 101 explained that just prior to going to Ferguson Market, Brown engaged in a 25-minute conversation about marijuana with one of the two contractors who were working in the apartment complex. Gee, how would you like to have those contractors working on your apartment? Witness 101 explained that when they went to Ferguson Market, Brown stole cigarillos from behind the counter as though he was entitled to them. Living a life of peace. And then subsequently shoved the store clerk, who was substantially smaller in stature than Brown, who was 6'5" and 289 pounds. Witness 101 initially minimized these events when speaking with law enforcement, but then acknowledged to the county grand jury that Brown was surprisingly aggressive. He minimized these events because he probably didn't realize that there was store video capturing what took place. Again, this is not the mark of honesty. Brown's behavior caught Witness 101 off guard because it was uncharacteristic of Brown and contrary to Brown's usual behavior. Keep in mind, he's only known Brown 2 or 3 months. Witness 101 expected to encounter the police when they left Ferguson Market because he heard the clerk say he was going to call the police. But remember, in that video clip I played last time, he said that they were walking down the street minding their own business. That does not sound like somebody who's expecting the police to come after them. Again, nothing this dude says seems honest. Witness 101 described Brown's behavior as bold. Bold? When Brown openly carried the stolen cigarillos as they walked down Canfield Drive. Gee, I wonder if there was marijuana in Michael Brown's bloodstream. Yes, there was. Witness 101 and Brown were walking eastbound, single file on Canfield Drive in the center of the street on the yellow line when they encountered Wilson driving in the opposite direction in his marked FPD SUV. I want to remind the reader here that what I'm reading is his account of things, okay? These are not factual statements necessarily. And with Dorian Johnson, almost none of them are. Witness 101 explained that they had not been obstructing traffic, although several cars had to avoid Brown and Witness 101 as they drove by. Wilson told them to get the fuck on the sidewalk, and Witness 101 responded that they were not but 1 minute from their destination. Oh, well, that makes a big difference. If you're not hardly a minute away from your destination, you don't have to obey police commands. Brown and Witness 101 did not move onto the sidewalk, but continued to walk in the middle of the street. In other words, screw the cops. We don't have to listen to them. We can do whatever the hell we want. As Wilson drove past them, he reversed his SUV and parked it at an angle, blocking both lanes in the road and almost hitting them, asking, "What did you just say?" According to Witness 101, Wilson attempted to open the driver's side in an aggressive and forceful manner. The door opened less than an inch because of Brown and Witness 101's proximity to the door. The door quickly bounced off of Brown and Witness 101, Dorian Johnson, and shut on Wilson. According to Witness 101, again Dorian Johnson, this angered Brown. Witness 101 also stated that he understood how Wilson could have perceived that Brown shut the door on him. According to Dorian Johnson, Wilson then reached out the window and up with his left hand, grabbing Brown by the throat. The private forensic pathologist, by the way, this is a person hired by Michael Brown's family, okay? He said that such an action was surprising based on the autopsy results and his experience as a forensic pathologist. I think it's even more surprising given that Michael Brown is 6'5", 289. Reaching out with one hand and trying to strangle somebody like that, could you even get your hand around the guy's neck? Wilson and Brown engaged in a tug-of-war, during which Wilson unsuccessfully tried to pull Brown toward the SUV as Brown attempted to pull away, while still holding the cigarillos. Witness 101 told county and federal investigators that Brown told Wilson, "Get the fuck off me. We're not doing anything wrong. Leave us the fuck alone." Yeah, we don't hear that ever, do we? I didn't do anything. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just walking down the middle of the street and disobeying a police command. But there's nothing wrong with that, right? However, Witness 101 explained that even though Wilson had his grip on Brown, Brown had the upper hand both because of his stature and his physical position relative to the car. As Witness 101 told investigators, Wilson would have to be superhuman to overpower Brown. Right, remember, 6'5", 290. Witness 101 told the county grand jury that Brown was getting the best of the officer because Wilson was only using his left hand. Yeah, I always take on 6'5", 290-pound men with one hand. During this tug-of-war, Wilson's grip gradually slipped from Brown's throat to his shirt, down to his shoulder and arm. Although Witness 101 told the county grand jury that Wilson gripped Brown's right arm, Witness 101 told investigators that Wilson mostly was gripping Brown's shirt by pulling it down over Brown's forearm. According to Witness 101, at no point did Brown ever strike, punch, or grab any part of Wilson. He could offer no explanation as to how Wilson sustained injury, other than to speculate that it was a result of their tug-of-war. Yeah, when I get into a tug-of-war, I always get injuries to my face. As the tug-of-war continued, Brown was then able to turn to his right toward Dorian Johnson and hand off the cigarillos with both hands. Brown then put his left hand on the door frame under the rearview mirror, while Wilson, using his left hand, maintained hold of Brown's right arm or sleeve. According to Witness 101, Wilson used his right hand to grab hold of Brown's left arm, although it is unclear from Witness 101's accounts whether he actually saw that happen or assumed it happened. Wilson, also using his right hand, then took out his gun and said, "I'm going to shoot." Dorian Johnson saw Wilson holding the gun and aiming it out the window when Wilson again started to say, "I'm going to shoot." None of this sounds even plausible. Witness 101 explained that Wilson fired, hitting Brown in the torso. Witness 101 described blood on the right side of Brown's torso. At the time of the shot, Brown was standing straight, his midsection up against the door, with his left hand down at his side and Wilson gripping Brown's right arm. Contrary to the autopsy results, particularly with regard to the thumb wound and the round recovered from the inside of the driver's door, Witness 101 was adamant that Wilson neither fired a shot within the SUV nor did Brown have his hands near the gun when the first shot was fired. Okay, then Dorian Johnson, how do you explain the gunshot wound to the thumb? This wound clearly was a result of an extremely close encounter with the barrel. And how do you explain that they found a bullet inside the door of the SUV? Which, by the way, corroborates who? Oh yeah, Officer Darren Wilson's account of things. Witness 101 was equally adamant that Brown's hands and arms never entered the SUV, telling investigators that the only hand that would have been free would have been Brown's left hand, and that hand neither entered the vehicle nor reached for Wilson's gun. However, when he testified before the county grand jury, Witness 101 made room for the possibility that Brown's arm entered the SUV when he was not looking. Oh, so we're going to change our story a little. Why? Because guess what? Physical evidence shows that Dorian Johnson's account is false. According to Witness 101, after the first shot, Brown and Witness 101 simultaneously ran eastbound away from the SUV. Witness 101 explained that he got ahead of Brown, such that his back was to both Brown and Wilson. Fearing for his life, Witness 101 crouched down among the cars that had now stopped in the middle of the street because of the parked SUV. Witness 101 attempted to get into a nearby car, a gray Sunfire, but the occupants would not allow him inside. Smart people. Brown ran past Dorian Johnson, telling him, "Keep running, bro." After a pause, Witness 101 explained that he heard Wilson emerge from the SUV. Witness 101 stood up and watched in plain sight as Wilson passed him and chased after Brown. In plain sight, according to Dorian Johnson, he has a very clear view of what's going to take place. And this is where things get really comical. According to Dorian Johnson, Wilson then fired a second shot which appeared to strike Brown in the back. Brown's arms were not raised at that time. During his investigative interview, Dorian Johnson stated that the bullet definitely struck Brown in the back. During his county grand jury testimony, however, Witness 101 stated that the bullet likely grazed Brown's arm, acknowledging that since he had made his original statements, he had watched media reports of the privately commissioned autopsy of Brown. In other words, he told everybody willing to listen that definitely Darren Wilson shot Brown in the back. He then changed his story and then later admitted to the county grand jury that he had watched, that he had heard about the autopsy results, which proved he was a liar. Brown was never shot in the back. And why do people think that he was? Because of Dorian Johnson making a completely bullshit claim. Witness 101 said that he assumed that had Brown not been struck, he would have kept on running. Instead, Brown stopped. So he's now saying that he didn't see Brown get shot. He just assumed that Brown must have been shot because he would have kept running if he had not been. Gee, that's not a very good witness. When you're a witness, you're supposed to tell people what you saw, not what you assume. Brown put his hands up above his head in the air and turned around to face Wilson. In so doing, one arm was lower than the other, though Witness 101 could not say whether it was the left or right arm. Why not? I don't think I understand. Michael Brown is right in front of you. You have plain sight of it. And you clearly saw one arm going up above the other, but you now can't tell which one. Can't you just form the mental image of what took place? Can't you just see what happened in your mind? According to liar Dorian Johnson, Brown then stated, "I don't have a gun," or "I'm unarmed." Brown started to say it again, but Wilson, while walking toward Brown, fired one volley of at least 4 shots, and Brown fell to his death. Wilson never said a word. He never commanded Brown to stop or freeze. Liar Dorian Johnson was steadfast that Brown fell to the ground right where he initially stopped and turned around. At most, Brown took a half step forward, but he did not move toward Wilson. Johnson was also steadfast that Brown never put his hands near his waist. As described earlier, the physical evidence establishes that Brown moved forward about 20 feet toward Wilson, and the medical legal investigator found Brown with his left hand at his waistband. Dorian Johnson also told the county grand jury that he stood and watched face to face as every shot was fired as Brown's body fell to the ground. Okay, he's saying face to face, I saw it, but was unaware that Wilson shot Brown in the face and head until he saw media reports of the privately commissioned autopsy. Until then, he thought the only shots were to Brown's upper region and chest. Witness 101 ran from the scene saying, "He just killed my friend." Witness 101 went home and changed his shirt so he later would be unrecognized by the police. By the time he went back to the scene of the shooting, the streets were crowded with people, but contrary to the dispatch recordings and cellular phone video, there were no police officers on the scene. And I have a feeling what he's talking about here is, why didn't you go to the police and tell them what happened? Why did you go to the media? And Dorian Johnson probably said there were no police there. There was only the media, so that's who I talked to. However, it's pretty clear that the police officers were there on the scene at that time. When police officers did arrive, he did not want to speak with them. Instead, he went to Brown's grandmother's home and told her and other family members what happened. I'm wondering if he's telling them also about Brown stealing the cigarettes. I don't know. With the encouragement of Brown's family, Witness 101 went back out onto the street and gave an interview to the media. So he's going and talking to the media, but he's not going to the police to tell them what happened. And of course, the media is going to be all for creating a really cool narrative, right? During his testimony before the county grand jury, Witness 101 acknowledged that he had discussed the incident with another witness, Witness 118. Witness 101, Dorian Johnson, explained that he was friendly with Witness 118 and noticed her standing on her balcony when he and Brown first encountered Wilson on Canfield Drive. He explained that he was surprised that so many other witnesses came forward because Witness 118 was the only person he saw outside, and she was the only person who saw the incident from the first shot to the last shot. However, as detailed below, Witness 118 was not out on her balcony for the majority of the incident, and it is unknown at what point she actually witnessed the shootings, if at all. So what's this? I mean, how do you interpret this? Dorian Johnson tried to get this other witness, this Witness 118, to back his story. And so he makes this claim, well, I have another person here who saw everything and she'll back my story. However, when the investigators went in and questioned her, it was pretty clear that she did not really see what Dorian Johnson said she would say. Witness 101 has a misdemeanor conviction for a crime of dishonesty, likely admissible in federal court as impeachment evidence. This happened in college, I think. I think he stole something from another student or something. I'm not sure. As described above, material parts of Witness 101's accounts are inconsistent with the physical and forensic evidence, internally inconsistent from one part of his account to the next, and inconsistent with other credible witness accounts that are corroborated by physical evidence. It is also unclear whether Witness 101 had the ability to accurately perceive the shootings. Witness 101 likely crouched down next to a white Monte Carlo as Wilson chased Brown. The Monte Carlo was facing west with a view of the passenger side of the SUV. Brown ran in the opposite direction that the Monte Carlo was facing. Witness accounts vary as to whether Witness 101 was ducking for cover on the passenger side of the Monte Carlo with his back to the shooting, or whether he fled the scene prior to the final shots being fired. Both Witness 101's inconsistencies and his ability to perceive what happened, or lack thereof, make his account vulnerable to effective cross-examination and extensive impeachment. Accordingly, after a thorough review of all the evidence, federal prosecutors determined material portions of Witness 101's account lack credibility and therefore determined that his account does not support a prosecution of Darren Wilson. Let me go ahead and summarize that for you. There's no point in charging Officer Darren Wilson because the main witness is a goddamn liar. There you go. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the other ones. Now, for this, I'm not going to go and read all of the details because, first, I don't want to propagate even more misinformation out there. And second of all, there's really not much point. These people pretty much lied. So we'll start off here. Witness 123 is a 29-year-old black male who gave two statements. First, he was jointly interviewed by FBI and SLCPD detectives. Second, he testified before the county grand jury. So I'll skip on down through here. By the way, it says here, Witness 101, Dorian Johnson, asked if he could get into their car, but Witness 123 would not permit him to do so. So remember, I said there was a smart person out there who would not let Dorian Johnson get into his car. That's this person. So let me summarize it here. Wilson shot Brown 3 times and Brown fell to the ground dead. Contrary to the physical evidence, Witness 123 explained that Brown died where he turned around and did not move toward Wilson. And it says here, Witness 123's accounts to investigators and to the county grand jury were inconsistent with the physical and forensic evidence, making him vulnerable to effective cross-examination. His focus was split among the driver of the vehicle, Dorian Johnson, and the shooting itself. For those reasons, prosecutors questioned his ability to accurately perceive the incident and could not rely upon his account to support prosecution of Darren Wilson. Keep in mind, Witness 123 is probably the best witness that Dorian Johnson has. It only gets worse from here. Witness 133 is a 33-year-old black female who gave 3 statements. She was driving a white Monte Carlo west on Canfield Drive when she was forced to stop behind Wilson's SUV. So she's riding with Witness 123, the one that we just read. During both her interview with SLCPD and her follow-up interview with federal agents and prosecutors, Witness 133 was repeatedly asked if there was anything else that she saw or anything she thought investigators would need to know. In both instances, Witness 133 denied knowing any more information, telling federal authorities that she had given everything she's got. However, she expressed sorrow as the mother of a teenage son. Despite her repeated assurances that she saw nothing else, Witness 133 testified before the grand jury that when she looked in the rearview mirror, Brown had his hands up before he fell to his death. Gee, she didn't mention that before. Why is she bringing that up now? Well, that's the popular narrative. That's what she's been hearing from everybody. And so she kind of adds this to her testimony, even though before she did not mention anything about this. And told investigators who asked her, "Are you sure that you're giving us everything?" That was it. That's all I have. When questioned by the county prosecutor about providing this new information, Witness 133 acknowledged that the transcripts from her previous statements were correct, and that she told SLCPD detectives, FBI agents, and federal prosecutors everything she could think of that was important. Witness 133 never offered an explanation as to why she did not previously disclose that Brown's hands were up. Witness 133 also acknowledged that she had been watching the news and hands up had become the mantra of the protesters. There you go. She heard from others that Michael Brown had his hands up. The hands up thing becomes a big slogan, and so she adds it to her testimony. Witness 133 has no criminal history. Witness 133 is a repeated omission of a material detail that goes directly to whether Wilson used unreasonable force, coupled with the fact that she told federal authorities that she blacked out before later testifying that she saw Brown's hands up, would subject her to effective cross-examination if called as a prosecution witness. It calls into question whether she actually saw Brown's hands at all, had blacked out, or had been distracted by Dorian Johnson. She lied. She lied. That's all there is to it. She made up the story about Michael Brown holding his hands up because it fit the narrative. Witness 119 is a 15-year-old black male. He initially told detectives that he witnessed the shooting. However, he later recanted, telling federal agents and prosecutors that he lied to detectives because he just wanted to be involved in the investigation. You could have been involved in the investigation if you would have endorsed Officer Darren Wilson's testimony. Oh, it really wasn't about getting involved in the investigation. It was about trying to convict a white cop, regardless of whether he was guilty or innocent. That's what it was about. When they tell you, I just wanted to be a part of something, that's what they mean. Witness 119 initially spoke to detectives within hours of the shooting while standing on Canfield Drive, in part because of the chaos around him during the interview, and in larger part because he was lying. Much of Witness 119's initial account did not make sense. Now, keep in mind, you will notice that throughout all this report, they don't call people liars here, except for this dude, okay? So they're always really objective in the way that they frame the language, but not with this kid. They know he's lying, and they're just going to say it. Witness 119 seemed to claim that Wilson shot Brown in the side from out of the window of the SUV, possibly while he was still driving. Wilson then chased after Brown and ultimately shot him to death in the head while Brown had his hands up in the air. It's probably clear that Witness 119 didn't see anything, and he just simply made up this story. Federal agents and prosecutors sought to follow up with Witness 119 to clarify his account. Witness 119 readily admitted that he never saw the shooting, but was sitting near a flower bed playing video games on his phone when he heard gunshots. Witness 119 could not see the SUV from his vantage point. He and his brother waited until the gunshot stopped before going to the scene because they did not want to get hit by a stray bullet. By the time they arrived on scene, Brown was dead. Witness 119 claimed that he told the police that he was a witness because he was traumatized and because he wanted to be a part of it. What is it? Lynch mob. He wanted to be a part of that. He wanted to help convict a white cop. Witness 125 is a 23-year-old black female. She initially told law enforcement that she witnessed the shooting, but later recanted, claiming that she wanted to be involved from the outset and therefore lied to investigators. Detectives briefly interviewed Witness 125 during their initial canvass after the shooting. Witness 125 claimed that she was asleep for the first 2 gunshots. Her boyfriend, Witness 131, told her to get up and go to the window. Witness 125 then gave an internally inconsistent account, first saying that Brown's arms were by his waist, followed by his hands going up. When asked for clarification, she said the same thing in reverse, explaining that it all occurred while Brown was kneeling. Witness 125 refused to meet with federal prosecutors but did meet with FBI agents. So let's skip down here. Despite saying otherwise in her recorded statement to the SLCPD, she denied telling FBI agents that she originally told SLCPD detectives that Brown was kneeling prior to his death. Do you hear me? She claimed that she never told detectives that Brown was kneeling prior to his death, but they had it recorded. When witness 125 appeared at the St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office to testify before the county grand jury, she was accompanied by an attorney. Prior to her testimony, witness 125 told the county prosecutors that she lied to the FBI and to SLCPD detectives. Now, why is the attorney there? The attorney is there to get a deal worked out so that she can finally tell the truth. That's the reason why they're not prosecuting any of these people for perjury. It's because their attorneys worked out deals so that the detectives could finally get to the truth of the matter. So they were probably offered immunity. Witness 125 was then given immunity from federal prosecution for making material false statements to federal agents so long as she testified truthfully in the grand jury. She testified that she did not, in fact, witness any part of the incident, but claimed she did so because she wanted to be part of something, a lynch mob. She claimed that a friend in the community told her to tell the SLCPD and the FBI what her boyfriend saw, but to claim it as her own. Are you hearing me? Another witness coming forward and finally admitting that I didn't see anything, I made it up. And notice something, they're not making it up to benefit the officer. It's always to benefit Dorian Johnson's account, because they want a white cop convicted. They don't care if he's innocent or guilty. Witness 131. Witness 131 is a 22-year-old black male. As previously mentioned, Witness 131 is the fiance of Witness 125, the one that we just heard from who lied. Witness 131 gave two statements, first to the FBI and then later to the county grand jury. Witness 131 told the FBI that he was in his apartment when he heard 3 gunshots, prompting him to call Witness 125 to come look out their living room window. However, he changed his account when he testified before the county grand jury, claiming that he only called to his fiancée once the shooting had stopped. Despite 131 telling the FBI that Brown was shot only when he moved forward, he testified to the contrary in front of the county grand jury. There, he testified that Brown stood still as he was shot to death and denied that Brown moved forward at all. When county prosecutors confronted Witness 131 with his inconsistency, he denied that he said anything different to the FBI. Hey, dude, they record these things. Witness 131 has no criminal history. Witness 131's accounts are inconsistent with each other, and his most recent version is inconsistent with the physical and forensic evidence. He also claimed that his fiancée was present for something she admitted she did not witness. So we have 2 liars working in conjunction with each other that can't get their stories straight. Witness 112. Witness 112 is a 62-year-old black male who was with his brother, Witness 110, and sister-in-law, Witness 111, when he witnessed the shooting. As described above, they witnessed the shooting from the second-floor balcony located opposite and off to the right of the minivan occupied by Witness 104, blah, blah, blah. Witness 112 gave 3 investigative statements, and he also spoke to the print media. Witness 112 agreed to meet with detectives only because he spoke to his pastor and realized that what he witnessed was weighing on him. Witness 112 explained that Witness 101, remember that's Dorian Johnson, could not have seen what he is claiming to have seen in his media interviews. According to Witness 112, he was sitting by his bedroom window when he saw Brown and Dorian Johnson walking in the center of the street. Witness 112 knew Brown from the neighborhood and always found him to be respectful. So his account of the tussling is here. Witness 112 explained that it appeared that Brown stopped running because either the pain or shock hit him. Brown turned around and looked down as though checking himself for injury. In so doing, Witness 112 explained that Brown raised his arms partly, palms up, clarifying that he didn't have his hands all the way up. Brown then moved his arms out at a 35 to 45 degree angle as if to say, "What?" It was then that Wilson trained his gun on Brown, and as Brown moved forward, Wilson repeatedly yelled, "Stop." When Brown failed to stop, Wilson fired shots. Brown's arms went limp at his side, but he kept moving forward toward Wilson, though Witness 112 characterized it as not in a menacing way. Witness 112 explained that at no time did Brown say a word. Instead, Witness 112 yelled out from his balcony for Brown to stop, but Brown kept slowly advancing, bent forward, and Wilson kept shooting. When Witness 112 subsequently met with federal agents and prosecutors, he gave a similar account, except that he steadfastly claimed that when Brown turned around in the roadway, he held his arms up in surrender at 90-degree angles, with his palms facing out. So he's changed his story a little. When asked about his previous description, Witness 112 became agitated and angry and refused to listen to a recording of his previous statement. That must have been interesting. So they're bringing out a recording and they're saying, "Look, this is what you're telling us right here is not what you told us earlier. Let me play this for you." And he got really upset about that. Yes, they do record these conversations. He was unable to explain the difference in his accounts and why his statement had changed. Witness 112 similarly described that Brown held his hands up in surrender when he testified before the county grand jury. Subsequent to his meeting with federal authorities and his appearance before the county grand jury, Witness 112 gave an anonymous interview to the local print media. Although Witness 112 never identified himself, based on the account given that was almost verbatim to his initial SLCPD interview and the proximity in time to his county grand jury testimony, federal and county prosecutors and investigators recognized that it was Witness 112. In that media interview, Witness 112 reverted to his initial version that he told detectives, explaining that Brown did not have his hands up in surrender, but rather partly raised his arms, palms up, checking for injury. This stood in stark contrast to what he told the FBI and federal prosecutors and to the testimony in the county grand jury. Witness 112 has a felony conviction for stealing from 18 years ago that likely would be inadmissible in federal court as impeachment evidence, probably from the time span. Because federal prosecutors cannot discern the truth among Witness 112's versions, and his most recent account does not inculpate Wilson, Witness 135 is a 20-year-old black female. She was walking on Canfield Drive at the time of the initial interaction between Brown and Wilson. She gave 3 statements. Witness 135 readily acknowledged to federal prosecutors that she had poor vision and was not wearing her contact lenses on the date of the shooting. She was able to see shapes and figures but could not see details or facial expressions from where she stood once Brown ran from the SUV. Because the physical evidence proves that Brown moved forward before he fell to his death, federal prosecutors and agents asked Witness 135 if it was possible that Brown moved forward, but she did not see it. She responded that it was possible, not only because of her vision problems, but because she was watching Brown the entire time. But because she was not watching Brown the entire time. Instead, she was scanning the block and was worried for her own safety due to the ringing of gunshots. Witness 135 explained to federal prosecutors that Brown's friend, Dorian Johnson, ran off as soon as the first shot was fired and she never saw him again. However, she described a similarly built black male with dreadlocks who was later running around the Canfield apartments, saying something to the effect of, "The police shot my friend, his hands were up." Yeah, that sounds like Dorian. Witness 135 explained that quickly became the narrative on the street, and to her frustration, people used it both as an excuse to riot and to create a block party atmosphere. During her county grand jury testimony, Witness 135 characterized Wilson's actions as murder, an opinion that would be inadmissible in federal court. When county prosecutors pressed her for an explanation, she stated that she sees it that way because Wilson should have used a taser, nightstick, or similar weapon. Witness 135 also stated that when she saw the gun drop by the SUV, she assumed it belonged to Brown, acknowledging that it was not unreasonable for Wilson to think that Brown had a weapon. Witness 135 also testified about her own negative experiences with the FPD, when an officer arrested her and basically beat her up. That officer was not Darren Wilson, nor did she ever have prior interactions with Wilson. Witness 135 has no criminal history. As detailed above, Witness 135's initial account was inconsistent with the forensic and physical evidence and inconsistent with other credible witness accounts. She admittedly was unsure of what she saw, both because she was distracted and because she has poor vision. Witness 124. Witness 124 is a 31-year-old black female. As previously noted, Witness 124 is the wife of Witness 115. In her initial interview to SLC PD detectives, Witness 124 explained that she was on the phone and eating when her husband, Witness 115, called to her, "Baby, look out the window. They're shooting. Hey, dude, when they're shooting, you don't look out the window." Okay, so we'll cut down to here. However, during her interview with the FBI, Witness 124 described that she first saw Wilson's SUV when Wilson tried to run over Brown and Witness 101. And nobody's making that claim. Not even Dorian Johnson is claiming that Wilson tried to run him over with the SUV. This directly contradicts her prior statement that Witness 115 called to her to look out the window after the first shots were fired. Imagine that. During her FBI interview, Witness 124 also added that she saw Brown turn around and put his hands up. This also directly contradicts her initial statement in which she claimed that Brown disappeared from sight and that she did not see him until he reappeared in her line of sight. Witness 124 also added that, contrary to virtually every other witness account, Wilson walked toward Brown and shot him to death. Witness 124 has no criminal history. In an effort to reconcile the apparent inconsistencies in Witness 124's accounts and determine what she actually witnessed as opposed to what she may have heard from others, federal prosecutors sought to meet with her. However, Witness 124 failed to appear for a scheduled meeting and refused to schedule at any time or place of her convenience. Witness 127 is a 27-year-old black female who gave 3 statements. So I'll skip down here. Witness 127 was adamant that contrary to DNA evidence with regard to the blood east of Brown's body, Brown never moved toward Wilson. Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to explain how Michael Brown died at a certain location. His blood was further up the street and that he never approached Darren Wilson. Yeah, that's really kind of difficult to explain that. She insisted that he fell to his death right where he turned around. We know that that is false. She was equally adamant that Brown's hands remained outside the SUV during the initial interaction between Wilson and Brown, despite forensic and physical evidence to the contrary. When questioned by federal prosecutors and then by county prosecutors during her county grand jury testimony, she disallowed any possibility that perhaps her perception was compromised because she was using her phone, driving, and parking, among other reasons. Additionally, Witness 127 appeared in the media with her friend, Witness 118, allowing for the possibility that their accounts became conflated. She has no criminal history. Although her statements are materially consistent with each other, significant portions are contrary to the forensic and physical evidence and inconsistent with credible witness accounts. Witness 127 was unable to give reasonable explanations as to why the physical evidence might be inconsistent with what she remembers, and therefore prosecutors were left to conclude that she inaccurately perceived material portions of the shootings, either because of the stress of incidents or because she was distracted, or perhaps because she was lying. Witness 118 is a 19-year-old black female who lives in the Canfield Green neighborhood and knew Brown through a mutual friend, Witness 120. Witness 118 also knew Witness 101, Dorian Johnson. With whom she became friendly when she moved into the neighborhood. Prior to the shootings, Witness 118 and Witness 101 socialized almost weekly. Witness 118 denied speaking with Witness 101 since the shootings, contrary to what Witness 101 said during his testimony before the county grand jury. So we have two people who can't even agree on whether they spoke to each other. However, Witness 118 acknowledged speaking to Witness 120 about the shooting. As detailed later in this memorandum, Witness 120 was admittedly untruthful about what he claims to have witnessed. Okay, so she gives three statements, and we'll skip to here. Witness 118 gave three investigative statements and testified before the county grand jury. A SLCPD detective initially interviewed Witness 118 approximately 2 hours after the shooting. She subsequently appeared in the media several times. During those media interviews, Witness 118 added details that she did not report to local law enforcement, claiming in the news that she saw the whole scenario play out. In an effort to evaluate the inconsistencies between her statements to law enforcement and her statements to the media, as well as inconsistencies with physical evidence, federal agents and prosecutors interviewed Witness 118 in the presence of her lawyer. All right, let's skip down. Witness 118 told the SLCPD detectives that she then looked back toward Brown as he turned around, put his hands in the air, and got shot 2 times. Brown fell to the ground face down with his arms at 90-degree angles on either side of his head, contrary to what the crime scene photos depict and the SLCME medical legal investigator noted. That is, Brown's left hand was at his waistband and his right hand was down at his side. At the conclusion of the interview with the SLCPD, Witness 118 assured the detective that what she reported was her best recollection of the incident and that she was not leaving anything out. Nonetheless, Witness 118's accounts to the media and to the federal prosecutors and agents were different from her initial statement to the SLCPD, even though her grand jury testimony was ultimately more consistent with her initial SLCPD account. She also claimed that she saw a bullet strike a nearby building, but acknowledged that she inferred this because she saw SLCPD detectives attempt to remove one from the building wall. Okay, so again here, you're supposed to tell detectives what you saw. You don't infer. Witness 118 added to her media narrative that Wilson shot Brown in the back from 3 feet away. From 3 feet away? And nobody is saying that. And that Brown never moved back towards Wilson. Physical evidence is inconsistent with both of these added details. Also, contrary to her initial account, Witness 118 told federal agents and prosecutors that Brown's arms were at his sides and his hands were around his hips when he came to rest on the ground. When federal prosecutors and agents challenged the inconsistencies in her accounts, Witness 118 conceded that she likely assumed facts that she did not witness herself, based on talking with other residents in the Canfield Green complex and watching the news, but was not specific about which facts, pretty much all of them. Witness 118 has no criminal history. Witness 118's accounts are riddled with internal inconsistencies inconsistencies with the physical and forensic evidence and inconsistencies with credible witness accounts. Her attention was admittedly diverted away from the shooting when she watched Witness 101, Dorian Johnson, ducking for cover, and she acknowledged that her account was also based on assumption and media coverage. There you go. Making shit up because of what she heard others saying. And where did all this come from? Dorian Johnson.